Okay, you guys. I just finished Zack Snyder's Justice League. Just like 1 to 2 minutes ago. Except unlike the last review that I did right after I finished a film, I'm not going to be weepy. There were moments in this film where I almost felt that sensation, but it was more because I was so happy. You know, almost like tears of joy, though I did not shed any tears. So, oh my gosh, I have so many words and I don't know how to put them all together. So obviously, I think it's probably pretty well understood by now from the people that have watched it, from almost everyone who has seen it, that this version of the Justice League is a million, gazillion, billion, trillion times better than the one that came out in 2017. And I can only imagine what a blockbuster this movie would have been if it had been allowed to see the light of day in, on the big screen. It would have been just massive because it is so well done. The writing in here is very good. I like the writing in Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, but the writing in here is even better because there was so much interconnectivity. If he had been able to make longer versions of Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, I bet he did sort of with the extended cut of Batman vs. Superman, which is even better than the theatrical cut. And I really enjoyed the theatrical cut. I don't know where some of these people are coming from with their absolute hate of that film, because it was not bad, in my opinion, obviously. I mean, they have the opinion that it was terrible, but I honestly don't know what they're smoking, because I don't think it was all that bad. And I went in expecting it to be not good because the reviews were so mixed. Anyway, every character was given adequate screen time, and every character was vital to the plot. 2 of the characters were some of the most important. Well, obviously, there's Superman, he's super important, but the Flash and Cyborg were 2 extremely vital characters. Obviously, without them, none of this would have been possible. Well, without any of them, none of this would have been possible, which was the beauty of this thing, was that none of them outshone the other. They all worked in perfect harmony to accomplish what they needed to accomplish. The story of Cyborg was done so well, and just his character was so relatable. In the other version, you felt kind of sorry for him, but you didn't really have that emotional connection with him that you had with the other characters, because you already were attached to the other characters like Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman. And so because you didn't have that, the storylines of, let's say, Aquaman, Flash, and Cyborg fleshed out more, you could not really connect with them like they deserved to be connected with. The score in here is just excellent. I had heard that there were changes to the music in some of the scenes that made all the difference in the world compared to the version that came out in 2017. It has been a good long while since I have seen the 2017 version, so I don't have direct, there's some stuff I remember, that was stuff that was put in Whedon's version that did not show up in here. And other thing, there was one that I just jumped at, well, a couple of things that jumped out at me. One, they didn't have Diana in her cape, and not her, like her little thing that she wore in the ship when she went and was adjusting Bruce's shoulder. I always thought that scene was kind of corny. They didn't have that scene. There were a lot of scenes they didn't have, obviously, that were in, because, okay, I keep interrupting myself. Like I said, I have so many words. Whedon used about an hour's worth of Zack Snyder's material. So all those reshoots that were done was about an extra hour of his vision of this story. And so consequently, there was a lot of footage that was not included in this. But you recognize the footage that was, and the way it was used in Zack Snyder's version was so much better than how Whedon did it. Now, I've said before, I didn't absolutely hate the Whedon version, but I felt like it could have been so much better. after seeing this, honestly, I might start to hate the Whedon version, because what he did to Zack Snyder's vision was repulsive, you guys. It was awful. It was like he took Zack Snyder's work and crapped all over it. It was so disrespectful. I don't know what in the heck was in his brain. What was he thinking? I don't know. Maybe it's like he wanted to bring the Avengers style over to the DC universe, and it doesn't fit. They're two completely different tones, and it's just, I like the tone of both of them, but they don't necessarily, you can't necessarily, and there's bits of the same type of tone in each one. Like Marvel has some serious, obviously a serious tone when it needs to, but it's more on the lighthearted-ish side. Happy endings all around. And this one has a more grim, dark outlook, which I actually really like, because it does make it feel more grounded in reality in a lot of ways. And so this movie may very well end up in my top 10. I've seen it only once. I'm going to watch it again. And I'm super impressed with everything. Like the choreography, the action scenes, the dialogue, the acting, the cinematography was beautiful. I love the colors that they used, and everything just seemed to fit so well. The flow was good. It wasn't too rushed. I guess you could make the argument that, like the other Justice League definitely felt too rushed. That was one of the things I noticed right off the bat. I guess you could make the argument that it was too long. I honestly was not bored at any moment. And I was originally going to join the Zack Snyder watch party event for this, but there were technical issues, and I gave up waiting for it to sort itself out about 45 minutes after it was supposed to start, and finally just went directly to HBO and watched it myself. I should have just done that from the beginning, but I didn't expect that I was going to have those sorts of issues. I was expecting we were going to have bad weather and knock our power and internet out. I wasn't expecting issues on their end, but I think it was just so many people that were there. Maybe it was crashing the servers of the watch party thing. I don't know. I have no idea, but it wasn't just me that had issues with it. At one point, I think I saw about 26,000 to 27,000 people in the watch party. And some of these people were folks who had already seen it before. But anyway, I only got a little bit of Zack Snyder's Q&A stuff at the beginning. But, if I'd started earlier, I could have been done. I mean, it's now tomorrow. It's almost 12:30 now. And so I only stopped once to go to the bathroom. And I probably didn't even really need to. But I was like, well, I may as well. So anyway, this movie is split up into 7 parts plus an epilogue. Now, Zack Snyder had said this film ended on a massive cliffhanger. But I have to say, it's when he said that, I was expecting, and this is a tad spoilery, but not overly spoilery. When he said that, I thought he meant that the Steppenwolf storyline is going to end on a cliffhanger, and it doesn't. That gets resolved. The epilogue is what sets the stage for all these other storylines that could be happening, which we already got that at the end of the first version of this, which maybe it was only one scene that they showed, the one where Deathstroke came to Lex Luthor's yacht. That happens as well, but there's other stuff that continues to happen. And something that seems to tie a lot of this together is that it goes back to the scene in Batman vs. Superman when Flash was somehow bending time in order to come back and reach out to Bruce and explain to him that Lois was the key. So you think at first, well, you think a little bit initially in the this version that Lois was the key to bringing. Maybe that's kind of alluded to in the other version as well. Like when you see the other version, you think, okay, Lois is the key to snap Superman back to the core of who he is. Because when he's first revived, he was a little cray-cray, but it's more than that. And you don't get all the details. You just know that there's something major that happens in the future, and it involves somehow it involves Lois. I don't know what happens. I mean, I know some of what happens based on what they explain in the epilogue, but I don't understand how it all fits together. So obviously, if there's ever a sequel made or two, that storyline will most likely be explored. We don't know yet whether there will be any sequels, but my brother called me right before I was getting ready to start this, and he had seen it earlier in the day. And he thinks that there's going to be no doubt that there's going to be a sequel made. And I think that's probably the case. I mean, I guess I could see it going either way, but I'll tell you this. This movie, the official critic scores are positive. Started off at 73. The last I saw, it's climbed up to 78. Usually scores drop with time. Audience scores, you guys. I think the first time I saw it was 95. It's climbed to 97. It might be even higher now. The audience absolutely loves this movie, and for good reason, because it is spectacular. This is one of the best superhero movies that has ever been made, and I've seen a lot of them, and I've liked a lot of them. This is one of the best because of how well grounded it is, how well written it is, how just beautifully filmed it is, and just, it's so good, you guys. It's so good. I can't think of anything else right now to add to what I've already said. These were thoughts that came to me as I was watching it, that just, I was struck right away with how good the writing was. I noticed that pretty early on. And I really liked that the characters and the scenes had more time to breathe, which I think was a phrase that Grace Randolph used. They weren't rushed. They were all very well, they were just fleshed out very well, the scenes. If I could nitpick anything, and I'm coming back around to something that I already mentioned. If I could nitpick anything, it would be that maybe there were some long shots, like when I say long shot, and that might not be the right terminology for it, but shots that were held a few seconds longer than maybe they needed to be. Maybe you could trim a few minutes off, but it wouldn't be a lot. It wouldn't be a lot. So that is such a minor thing. Obviously, I don't even think it matters. One thing I really liked about Man of Steel, Batman vs. Superman, and this Justice League. Well, in preparation for this Justice League, I rewatched Man of Steel and Batman vs. Superman, the extended version. I didn't rewatch Aquaman or Wonder Woman because those were stories that weren't really super directly connected to this storyline. The Snyderverse, which these three movies, I mean, I guess that's what they are referring to. I mean, those three are connected. So that's why I watched Man of Steel again. It had been a while. Batman vs. Superman, and this, because the storyline that happens in Man of Steel is directly connected to the storyline that happens in Batman vs. Superman, which is directly connected to what happens in Justice League. So I love that this thread is just woven throughout all of these movies, and it was like the foresight and the planning of what was going to be happening. So, like what was shown at the end of Batman vs. Superman with Steppenwolf. And this movie starts off right after the end of Batman vs. Superman, right after. And I don't know if that's footage that had originally been shot for Batman vs. Superman. I honestly, I don't know, because it looked like different shots. It didn't look like the exact same, I don't know. I might be wrong, but anyway, it's just like picks up right after, and it just flows so well. I mean, these movies are so good, and I think that with time, love for Batman vs. Superman is probably going to grow. A lot of people hated the whole Martha dialogue line, you know, that scene, but I didn't mind it. Maybe it could have been acted a little better, but I didn't think it was ridiculous. Like Grace Randolph said, I never put together the fact that both Batman and Superman, their mothers had the same first name. So that was kind of a clever bit of writing as far as I was concerned. Anyway, I saw this excellent video that this guy did talking about A Beautiful Lie and how it threads these movies together, especially Man of Steel and Batman versus Superman. And it was so well done. I'll try to remember to link it. I haven't watched that guy's review of this movie because I wanted to wait till I saw it myself. But there is so much more depth to this. I guess I would call this trilogy because we don't know yet if we're going to have another one. But the studio would be pretty stupid if they didn't let him finish this thing out. But there is so much more depth to this trilogy or this trio of movies than a lot of people give it credit for. And I love it. Love it. Love it. And I think most of you guys will too. So check it out if you haven't already. I would like to possibly have a live stream about it, maybe sometime next week. I'm not sure. Maybe a lot of it depends on, how the week goes. My son is still shaking. My son hasn't seen it yet. He came home from work while I was still watching it. And my husband went and picked up my son for me so I could finish this movie. So because I was going to do a review for it. But anyway, I want to talk about this film with other people. And so I think a live stream will be probably a fun way to do that. But I'll figure out the scheduling and stuff and see who else wants to join me, and we'll see. Anyway, yeah, I can't think of anything else. Watch me remember something as I'm editing it, but if that's the case, maybe I'll just add it in to the review or put it in the description. So I really should wrap this up because I would like to edit this so that I can get it up in time for tomorrow. So, okay, well, I think that's it. Watch this movie, you guys. It's so good. I did film a reaction to it, and there were moments that I acted like a little child, I swear to goodness. Okay. All right, you guys. Adios.